Hi, I'm Romeo Nguyen, and this is my poster on weed suppression and tolerance in winter oats. An important factor to consider when using an agroecological approach to weed control is a crop's potential to both suppress weed development and tolerate weed competition. Oats are regarded as having greater weed competitiveness compared to other cereals. However, research investigating the competitiveness of oat cultivars are uncommon. This study examines oats' ability to suppress weed growth and yield when facing competition against weeds. This is accomplished through 4 trial years of testing at an organic location in the east of England with 5 husked and 3 naked oat types. They discovered the variety of essential characteristics that were crucial for weed control, including establishment rate, tillering ability, and early leaf area index, or LAI for short, which emphasized the significance of rapid early growth rate. So for the introduction, weeds continue to be one of the most important biotic factors, lowering yield in both conventional and organic farming systems, with the potential to account for up to almost a third of yield loss in agricultural crops. The method used to control weeds in both conventional and organic agricultural systems vary greatly. The emphasis of low input and organic farming systems is on cultural management, which includes mechanical weed control techniques like tillage and cultivation. These techniques, however, are costly from an economic and environmental standpoint since they have the potential to degrade soil, utilize a lot of energy produced from fossil fuels, and raise greenhouse gas emissions. On the other hand, conventional arable farming methods mainly rely on herbicides, a tactic that has been proven to be quite successful at weed management. Herbicides have become overused as a result of this heavy reliance, and crops have developed resistance to them. Additionally, there have always been health concerns with herbicides. Moving on to the methods and materials. 8 winter oat varieties were tested in the field over the course of 4 years, 2009 to 2013, in a site located in Suffolk, England that was managed organically. As you can see in figure 1, in the middle of the poster, you could see the dates, the pre-fertilizer available nitrogen, fertilizer application date, and the harvest dates of each year. So out of those 8 winter oat varieties, there are 5 husked oat varieties and 3 naked oat varieties. The soil type was a medium clay loam with the alkaline pH range of 7.4 to 8, and the amount of soil organic matter was moderate. Crop assessments were recorded like plant emergence, plant establishment, crop height, and stem density. Crop leaf area index assessments were taken at each stage of the crop's life, early, middle, and late. In the early stage, the focus was on the stem elongation. In the middle stage, it was focused on the booting, and in the late stage, it was focused on the mid-flowering. Since the husked and naked oat field tests were conducted independently of one another, they were each considered as a separate group for all analysis. The average weed pressures in each of the 4 trial years were compared using an ANOVA with year as the sole factor. Weed suppressive characteristics and trade-offs between productivity and competitiveness were identified using path analysis. Path analysis is a statistical tool for assessing the suggested causal relationships between confounding factors in a proposed theoretical model. Now we're moving on to the results. So in comparison to other variables, it was discovered that the percentage of weed ground cover had the highest effect on yield over the course of the 4 years for both husked and naked oats. Early season weed cover had the most impact on lowering crop yield of both husked and naked oats after crop variety influences on yields had been taken into consideration. We can see in figure 2, on the left side, we see a bar graph. That bar graph are the mean values of early season weed cover, and the graph on the right, figure 3, are the mean values of post-harvest weed cover. We can see the values of weed coverage is higher post-harvest, which is not what we want. So comparing the year with the highest early season weed cover, which was 2011, to the year with the lowest early season weed cover, average crop yields were around 16% lower for husked and 25% lower for naked oats in 2009. The fact that additional fertilizer had little to no impact on the output of either husked or naked oats suggests that the field's nutrient levels were sufficient following the 3-year grass clover crop. However, in several experimental years with husked and naked oats, more fertilizer reduced post-harvest weed cover. This indicates that fertilizer addition influences crop weed competitive interactions in the oat crop's favor and emphasizes oats as a typically competitive and resource efficient crop. Now we're moving on to the discussion. Differences in features reported as advantageous for weed suppression were evaluated across husked and bare oat types in order to ascertain if some varieties are better at suppressing weeds than others. Using cultivars with strong tillering potential is not the only way to promote weed control. Increasing sowing rate can also have a greater impact. However, the risk of lodging is possible at high plant densities, which ultimately lower yield. It was anticipated that the semi-dwarf variety with the lowest weed tolerance would lose 35% of its output to weeds alone in the year with the highest weed pressure, which was 2012, the third year. However, among the naked types, the tallest variety exhibited the highest weed tolerance. This shows that, in contrast to other competing qualities like crop tillering and LAI, height was a significant feature for weed tolerance. Only moderate weed tolerance was found in high tillering and high LAI varieties. Studies on wheat provide more evidence for the significance of height for weed tolerance, suggesting that maintaining a height advantage is a useful tactic for boosting weed tolerance since it enables the crop to avoid the competitive shading impact of weeds. And having this height advantage, it doesn't cost anything and it doesn't ruin the environment. As we talked about in the introduction part of the poster, conventional and organic farming systems, they deal with weed with unsustainable methods. So in this discussion part of the poster, I wanted to talk about another option to have when dealing with weeds, since they take up almost a third of our yield. So in conclusion, this study emphasizes the possibility for weed suppression to improve competitive interactions between crop and weeds to maintain production despite weed competition. Problems with herbicide resistance and soil degradation highlight the fact that no single approach to weed control remains effective in the long term. Thank you so much.